Good evening, everybody. Welcome. It's an exciting day. It's Beatles Announcement Day. The next in the series of Beatles anniversary editions has been announced. We kind of knew it was coming today, but finally we know that we're getting Let It Be on October 15th, which is about 6 weeks from now. And it means that that period from Sergeant Pepper right through to the end of the Beatles will now be covered in full, or as full as we're getting it anyway, with expanded editions. So always exciting times when we get Beatles announcements like this. And tonight I kind of want to talk about it. I want to go through what we're getting, make sure that we all understand, myself included, what is it that we're getting, what are we not getting, why we maybe not getting certain things that people want to see. And of course I'll be going through the chat as always with all of you, so hit us with any questions, comments on this. We will cover them. We'll try and cover them all as much as we can. So I put out a little question a few minutes ago. I was just asking, are you going to be buying the 5 CD and Blu-ray edition? And it looks like we've got about 73% of you said yes. So that's pretty good. I'll do another one a bit later where I'll ask about the vinyl as well. Yeah, I'm obviously not in my room tonight. My last live stream had a couple of technical issues that you probably saw. And I thought I just wanted to be safe tonight. I think I'll probably get a better connection in this outbuilding that I'm in at the moment. And cheers, everybody. I'm cracking open a Guinness for this. You lot must think I'm a right alcoholic, but I very rarely drink. But I like to do one when I'm on a live stream. So I want to first of all talk through what it is that it looks like we're getting on here on this particular release. And just make sure that we understand that. Like I say, I will come to all of your comments as soon as I possibly can. But I'm just going to pull up this this from the website, Beatles.com. It went live. I was keeping an eye on it this afternoon. It got a bit exciting when suddenly the whole Beatles.com website went blank. It went down. It was like, yes, they're clearly doing some sort of an update here. And then eventually it came back and we had all this information about Let It Be. So we know that there is a 5 CD and Blu-ray deluxe box set. Same like we've had really for the previous Beatles albums over the last few years, and it certainly looks like the format of this particular book certainly looks like it's maybe more in line with the White Album version rather than the Sgt. Pepper or the Abbey Road boxes that we've had. It looks like it's more consistent with the White Album box, which is great because I thought that was a really, really nice box. I'm going to talk about the contents of that in a moment. We will come to that in a moment. There's also a 5 LP box set, and this is interesting because it seems that there's definitely a shift happening. It happened with All Things Must Pass just recently, but there's a shift now to offering a vinyl package that contains everything, it seems. So, unfortunate for those people who missed out on previous editions where you would have liked it all on vinyl, but it looks like they're certainly getting around to doing that now. The contents in terms of the songs are identical on both of those. So I'm going to go through the track listing shortly, and it'll be the same for both. There's a picture disc version as well, which some of you might have seen. Let's just pull that up just so you can see that for a second. Now, personally, I'm not bothered about picture discs. I know some people like them and enjoy them. Brilliant. They're not something I tend to go for. But that looks like that is going to be just the new Giles Martin remix like we've had for the previous albums. It's a Giles Martin remix on a picture disc. So for those of you that like picture discs, I'm sure you'll get a lot of enjoyment from that. There's a 1 LP version. That's just going to be the main remix, the main Giles Martin remix. No frills, no extra songs. Just the album, again like we've had with the other previous albums. There's a 2 CD and a 1 CD version, and then of course you've got your digital and your streaming, etc. So let's just have a look at the track listing for this and see what we think about this. So the first disc is obviously, whether that's vinyl or CD, that's going to be this new remix. And we've known for a little while now that, because Giles Martin said it in interviews a while back, and again he's been doing it today, that they've based it on the Phil Spector version, the 1970 album that we've known. I'm pointing at it there. You can't see it because I've covered it up. Let's just yeah, the 1970 album that we've known for decades is based it on that, rather than sort of going to like the Let It Be naked version, for example. And it's the regular track listing there that you'll be familiar with. There was some snippets of Long and Winding Road remix on the Beatles YouTube video release earlier, which I thought was quite interesting because it really showed the orchestra really loud in the mix, and I wondered whether Paul McCartney would have said, "Tone it down, Giles." Apparently, so Giles has said that Paul did insist on a harp being turned down in the mix, but I thought I expected the whole of the orchestration to have been a little less, but it certainly seemed to be quite full on there. So you've then got CD2 or vinyl disc 2. It's the same whichever you get, and this is labelled Apple Sessions. So you've got certain things that are just speech there. You've got Maggie May and Fancy Me Chances With You. That could be interesting. A lot of you will know this from bootlegs. I am going to be completely honest here, and I've said this before, that I don't tend to go in for bootlegs much. To the extent of, I'm not certain whether I have ever heard the Glyn Johns mix, would you believe, of Let It Be. So I'm very excited about that, but we'll come to that. We've got these Apple Sessions on the second disc of vinyl or CD, and we've got some familiar titles there for You, Blue, Let It Be, Please Please Me. Interesting. That's going to be just a little bit of a snippet of them messing around with Please Please Me. There's Let It Be, Dig a Pony, I've Got a Feeling. And again, some more bits of speech there. Track number 12 is an interesting one, Don't Let Me Down, first rooftop performance. So you may have seen that they've made that available today. It's been on Spotify, other streaming services, probably YouTube. And it's the one, I'm really glad about this, it's the one where John gets his lyrics wrong. We've seen it on various things over the years. I think it was on the Imagine film. It might have been on Anthology as well, where he goes into one of the verses and he just goes, glob, blob, 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 blob. And it's quite fun. I enjoy that. You can see John enjoying himself. So I'm really glad that we've got that here. And then there's... don't get too excited about Wake Up Little Susie. Rest in peace, Don Everly. I think it's about 10 seconds of it before it goes into I'm in Mine. But the interesting thing with that is from the January 1970 sessions. So there's no John there. It was just when Paul, George and Ringo got together to do I'm in Mine, ready for the soundtrack album. That comes from that. That's interesting. So I will come back to CD and disc 3 in a bit, because I don't want to be ignoring your chat, because I'm conscious I've not done much on the chat so far. So I'm going to go down towards the end of the chat. As I always say, if I've missed anything out, then please post it again, and I'll try and get to it. I want to try and stay near the bottom of the chat. So what have we got here? Michael says if they want to milk it some more, they'll do a film soundtrack. Highly doubt it, as they've done enough with this. Well, that is interesting. I'm going to definitely be discussing that in depth a bit later on, about what else there might be, why we might not have got some of the things that we might want now, why we might be getting them later. We will definitely be coming on to that. What's this? Hi, Colin. What we're saying here? Rehaving everything on vinyl. A super deluxe edition commenter pointed out rightly that it seems time limitations of vinyl are limiting how much content is released on a CD. A shame if true. It's possible. I don't know whether that's true or not. Because obviously you're going to get you might push 50 minutes onto a piece of vinyl at most, but you could get more on a CD potentially. Cheers, everybody! By the way, I'm having a Guinness. If you're having a drink along with me, let me know what it is. Seal Decker, hi Seal Decker. It's been a really interesting day to be an ABBA and a Beatles fan. Yeah, interesting ABBA news as well. Not why we're here tonight, but yeah, it looks like we're getting some new ABBA music as well. I'm interested in hearing that, definitely. Ted London, hi. I guess updated Let It Be movie and new Get Back movie will be available on Blu-ray after Disney Plus premiere. First releasing music, then. They did definitely say in that original announcement way over a year ago now, they did say that the original Let It Be movie would be made available say any more about what that meant, in what format, but I really hope they don't backtrack on that. But certainly they've got an agreement with Disney Plus, and I think that's probably driving a lot of things at the moment. Things haven't panned out, obviously, over the last year or so. I mean, going back 18 months, really, since this was all announced, the world has not panned out as anybody expected over these 18 months, and it has had a big knock-on effect to this project. There is no doubt. We would have had something very different had we had it last year. I think we kind of know that that's for sure. And I'll be talking more about that as we go on through the course of the evening. Interesting comment. Hi, Andrew Galvin. I feel like Sergeant Pepper to Abbey Road Deluxe sets feel like the definitive statement. This version of Let It Be does not feel like the final word on it, and that's a shame. Interesting. Well, it isn't the final word on it, though, is it? Because we know we've got a blooming 6-hour brand new film coming. So, and what else might come off the back of that we don't know about yet? This isn't the final word. There is a lot more to come, and overall, I think there's probably as much, if not more, on this set than there is on the others, apart from the White Album. That was a biggie. But of course, that was a double album as well. Old Speckled Hen, Bruce. Excellent, nice drink. John Ward, your thoughts back in 1970? This was the first Beatles album that didn't really provide value for money. Now, of course, a whole mythology has developed around it. It's crazy, isn't it? You know, whenever the Beatles want to do something or don't want to do something with Let It Be, something always seems to get in the way. I was saying recently, I remember back in 1990 when I was that was my first really big year of being a Beatles fan, when I was really starting to delve. And I remember reading in the Beatles monthly book, then they said, you remember that monthly magazine? They said, Let It Be, it's coming on video. It's about to be announced, it's ready. And of course, 30 odd years later, we're still waiting for it. So, and then they wanted to do all this last year, and the pandemic hit, and something always seems to get in the way of this particular set. Paddy's having a whiskey, Schlante. Enjoy that. Any thoughts? But this is Beatles. Any thoughts on if the rooftop concert will be released on CD or vinyl? Well, let's get that. Let's do that, because I think that's a big topic that a lot of people want to know about, and none of us know the answer yet, but we can speculate. Here's my speculation, and I know that this matches certain other people's speculation as well. Obviously, we would have loved if today's announcement included the full rooftop concert, and it's not there, and that's a disappointment for some. But I think there's logical reasons why it can't happen. If we go back to what was originally supposed to happen with this whole project, we were supposed to get the Peter Jackson Get Back film in August last year. Pretty much bang on a year today. It must be within a day or so. A year ago today it was supposed to come out, coincidentally. We were supposed to get that, and then no doubt we were going to get the box set a bit further down the line, maybe for Christmas, for example. Now, Disney have got the Get Back film, and Disney, you know, the Beatles are used to getting their own way and being able to do what they like. They're dealing with Disney now. This is a company that you can't bully around so much. Disney have been given rights here. And one of the big selling points, in fact, one of the biggest selling points of the whole Disney Get Back project was that it would have the full rooftop performance, uncut. And I hope it is uncut. I hope it is full, not edited at all. That was a big selling point of their particular movie. And now that things have shifted because of the pandemic, we're now in the situation where the box set is coming out first. Disney have almost certainly got some sort of exclusivity on that rooftop concert, being their big sort of selling point for that. So it seems as though if things had happened as they were supposed to happen a year ago, that you would have had the rooftop concert in with this package. But it can't be there now. It's, it's under the deals that have been struck, it just doesn't look like that's probably possible. And what we all hope, what I certainly hope, but I have no idea, this is me guessing, Disney have got some sort of period of exclusivity where they can show the movie for however long it is. We don't know how long. It might be 3 months, it might be longer. Once that time period is up, there's no way that the Beatles and that the Apple camp will have signed a deal that doesn't allow for them to release this on Blu-ray, this new movie. If you're releasing the movie on Blu-ray and most of your biggest fans have already seen it, you've got to have some big selling point. And I really hope that selling point is they include the rooftop concert. Just my speculation. But that would be, I think they've been, I understand why people are frustrated that it's not there, but I think I like to be a realist rather than an idealist, and realistically I don't think it could be in there with the way things have panned out, but hopefully it can be in there in some sort of future release of the Get Back movie. I certainly hope so. Or the Let It Be film. So I hope we're going to get a release of the original Let It Be film as well. So some people are probably not going to agree with that. Fair enough. But I'm just trying to be realistic about why we're in the situation that we're in. So I'm not going to go moaning like heck, as some people will, that the rooftop concert isn't there, because I think there's a good reason for it, and I don't rule out us still getting it. So that's my thoughts on that anyway. Hi Paula, you think releasing this ahead of Get Back is odd? I wonder if they just didn't want to wait any longer. I mean, they've already pushed this thing back nearly a year. So maybe they just thought, let's get this thing out. Sergeant Pepper, your top 3 favourite Beatles songs are performed on the rooftop. Excellent. I've Got a Feeling, Don't Let Me Down, and Get Back. That's a great 3 songs. So, well, I hope you get your release eventually of that. It's nice to see a lot of people. I am seeing a lot of messages from people telling me what you're drinking tonight. Thank you. I'm not ignoring you. I've seen the little tea. I've seen various beers mentioned. Yes, I've seen that. Thank you. Is the white thing in the box set a CD wallet? Well, we'll come to some. Well, let's have a look. I've got some images here. I do prepare for these things. Let's just have a look at this. I don't know whether you're talking about this. This is the 5 CD deluxe box set, which it looks like we're going to get a really nice book with this as well, as we always do. Do you mean? What was the question again? Was the white thing a CD wallet? Is that this? I wonder if this is the sort of white booklet that's outside the main booklet. Maybe it is. Maybe that holds all the different discs in, potentially. But that does look like a really nice box set. And I do like as well, if we look at the 4LP version, I do like as well, they showed that the albums pull out, and those 4 squares on the front of the box set are actually holes in the cover. So you pull the album out and you leave just black holes there. That's quite nice as well. But it looks like there's a really nice book with the vinyl set. Well, I mean, it's not cheap, isn't this vinyl set? But it does look like they've done a really nice book with it. And it does look like it'll be a nice package. So I want to go back to the track listing in a minute, but I'm just going to catch up with the chat again before I do. Hi Gerard, you okay? The rooftop is hype. Who wants to listen to all the breaks and chit chat of 4 versions of Get Back and Don't Let Me Down? That's a fair comment. That is a fair comment, and there's definitely an argument that it's so disjointed because they were stopping that. How would it be as one cohesive listening experience anyway? So maybe if they are going to do some sort of audio release of it, maybe it will be edited to chop out some of those gaps. But we've been promised that full and edited thing on the Peter Jackson film, so we've got it there if we need it. Yorkshire tea, says Owen, that is the best tea, without a doubt. Harold Parrott, do you think this is just a cash grab? No, I'm not a fan of the term cash grab, because as I often say, nobody is grabbing my cash. I will give it up if I think there's something worth buying. But if I don't think it's worth buying, I won't buy it. I didn't buy either of the two biggest configurations of All Things Must Pass. I did pass on those. I missed out on a couple of Paul McCartney releases lately that I normally never do, but I just thought I can't justify the cost. So personally, I don't like the term cash grab because I think we are all have free will whether to buy these things or not. That's my thoughts. Right. Okay. Hi Anthony, how are you doing? What have you gone for? The usual 5 CD set or the vinyl? I have preliminary. Oh my god, I can't even say it. Preliminary. Oh god. I've gone for both. I can't say that word. What's going on? I've only had one sip of Guinness. I think that the vinyl. I would always go for the CD Blu-ray deluxe box. So I'm always going to get that. I wouldn't always go for the vinyl, but on this occasion, I think I really like the fact that there's Lynn John's mix there. I really like the look of the booklet and the packaging, so I thought it was worth it for me to do that. Does free will exist? Well, that's a bit philosophical for tonight, Sheffield and beyond. Anyway, I'm going to get back to the track listing because I want to just go through this. So we did CD or vinyl 2. We've now got CD or vinyl 3, which is called Get Back Rehearsals and Apple Jams. So again, we've got little bits of speech in here. There's also some mono here. I think some of this you may be able to tell me more in the chat because some of you may well know more about this than I do. I think some of this might be Twickenham. So those first sessions, the first sessions that they did in that first sort of week, 10 days or so, the miserable sessions, more so than at Savile Row, up until just after when George quit the band temporarily. And it looks, I get the impression from looking at that some of that might be Twickenham sessions. So that would be good because the little quiz question for you. Let's see who gets this first on the chat. What is the only piece of Twickenham audio that is heard on the original Let It Be album? There we go. An off-the-cuff quiz. Let's see who's the first for that. See who gets the answer first. So anyway, we've got on here we've got various bits of speech. We've got an All Things Must Pass version here. Hopefully different to what's on Anthology 3. We've got rehearsals of I'm in Mind. Give Me Some Truth is interesting. So obviously what ended up on Imagine. Yeah. We've got a version here, so that's good. Octopus's Garden, interesting. I mean, I'm really glad that they held that and saved it for Abbey Road because I think it warrants the big production that the Abbey Road album was able to give it. Has anybody? I don't think anybody's got the quiz question yet. No. Yes, Andrew Galvin. Andrew Galvin's got it. He's first. When John says the Queen says no to pot-smoking FBI members. That little bit of speech, that is the only thing on the Let It Be album. It's from the Twickenham sessions. Well done, Andrew. We've got Oh Darling. Got a take of Get Back, interesting. We've got Billy Preston, Without a Song. So again, because I don't get involved in bootlegs much, there's certain things here that I'm not familiar with. So I'm really interested for that. And I don't get involved in bootlegs, not through any sort of moral reason or anything daft like that. It's just that I haven't got the capacity to take them on. There's enough to deal with official releases. I can't deal with all the bootleg stuff as well. It's too much for me. So then we've got CD 4 or vinyl disc 4. Glyn Johns mix, 1969. Now, where do we start with this? So, Glyn Johns did various mixes during 1969 and in early 1970. And it looks like what they've gone for is, I believe, the May 1969 mix. But I don't think it's 100% authentic. I think they've tweaked some little bits, potentially. I think the For You Blue might have been tweaked on this. But I've said on previous streams that what I really wanted, if they were going to do the Glyn Johns mix, was the May 1969 version. Because it is the one that was like nearly released. It was lined up. They shot an album cover. You know, when they recreated the Please Please Me cover, it was very, very nearly scheduled for release. And so I thought that was the most authentic one that I would hope that they go with. But I wasn't sure whether they would, because it only has one George song on, and I wondered whether the politics of the Beatles, whether Olivia would say, no, we want the later mix that's got I Me Mine on it, but never ever likely to be released. But so I'm really glad they've gone with some kind of authenticity here of a mix that actually is the one that we would have got were we to get one. So, like I say, I don't think I've ever heard the Glyn Johns mix. I've heard bits of it, obviously, but I don't think I've ever heard it. And most of you will have. Most of you will have heard a lot more of this stuff than I ever have, and that's due to me not getting involved in the bootlegs so much. So I'm really, really glad to get that. We've got it. We'll have it on vinyl. You know, we can have the Let It Be album cover, and we can have a Glyn Johns mix next to it of the Beatles stood at EMI House on Manchester Square, with Don't Let Me Down and 12 other songs or whatever it says on it. I'm really glad that we're getting that at last on CD, on vinyl. It would have been a real shame if that wasn't on here. And there's another point, going back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago with the lack of the rooftop concert. The other thing that I was thinking is that to sell a set like this, you need some sort of a hook. You need to reel people in. Thinking of it from the business point of view, you've got to reel people in with something that they've not got, or they've not got officially, or in this good quality. And the hook here, well, there's a few hooks here, but the big one is, I think, is that Glyn Johns mix. You know, that this is the opportunity finally, 52 years later, to buy that. You maybe don't need the second big hook of the rooftop concert. Save that hook for your, you know, a film soundtrack set, or when the Get Back Blu-ray's released. Then all the people who've seen it on Disney Plus, they've then got a reason to buy it again, because you get the rooftop concert audio with it. So I don't think they necessarily need to give two big hooks in to reel people in. Again, I'm just trying to be a realist. Even if what I'm saying doesn't actually come true and happen. So let's just have a look at the track list of this 1969 Glyn Johns mix. Let me put it back up on the screen. Here we go. So it's this CD 4. It's also vinyl 4. It's the same. One After 909, great. You've then got this little medley here. I'm Ready, Save the Last Dance for Me, Don't Let Me Down. So obviously the start of that is a little bit of kind of rock and roll there. And the first Glyn Johns mix that he did back in, was it like the very end of January or early February 69? There was also a second potential disc that he put together of just rock and roll oldies. Well, they're oldies at the time even. They were kind of 10 years old or whatever. Them doing all their sort of Little Richard and Buddy Holly and all that kind of thing. There was potentially, there was very little bit of talk about them doing a 2-album release, with the second disc being just these old rock and roll songs that they've been jamming. So they've still got a little bit of it on here, but not a great deal. Don't Let Me Down, which of course, I mean, should have been on the album. Really should. It would have been by far John's best contribution to that album had it have been there. Various things then would be different, obviously different mixes, but even different takes to what we eventually got on the Let It Be album. And there's a reprise of Get Back at the end, which I think, again, some of you might be able to tell us in the chat, but I suspect that that's probably just the, I'd like to thank you on behalf of myself and the group, and I hope we pass the audition. Maybe it's kind of that at the end, potentially. So, yeah, JL Draw says that he did some rough mixes in March, but they were not proper attempts at producing a Get Back album. No, I think they were more kind of just to sort of put ideas together of this is what the kind of direction we might want to be going in, and also for the Beatles to get their acetates so that they could hear what they'd done so far. So yeah, I'm really, really, really happy that we're getting this Glyn Johns mix on here in an original official release. Final resting place. Do people really want to hear a remix of You Know My Name? I've seen, was it Lee who's been asking a few times? I've not been ignoring it, Lee, but I've just not got to it. You've been asking about why You Know My Name isn't in here. I think really because it's just not. I mean, obviously it was a B-side of the era, but it's not a song from those sessions. It's not really anything to do with those sessions. So I guess that's why it's not there. Is Dig It a longer version? I think we are getting a longer version of Dig It, as far as I know. If anybody can confirm that, again, let us know. But I think there is. I mean, it won't be I think the full version's about 12 minutes. We're obviously not going to get that. But I think we are getting something a bit more. Wasn't Backseat of My Car a thing during the sessions? Yes, it was. As was, I think Another Day also was part of the sessions, briefly. And they're not going to give us we're not going to get everything, unless we get to a point in the future sometime where they decide to really, really completely open up the vaults and do. And if they do, I guess it will be some kind of subscription thing. You pay a subscription, you've got access to everything, and that might be the way things go in the future potentially. We'll see. I'm just going to have a look at this poll that I put up right at the start, which was about who's buying the Blu-ray 5-disc version. And I think it ended up 61% there for the saying yes that they were getting it. Interesting. I want to put another one up in a moment. In fact, I am putting another one up now. Are you buying, if I can spell it right, are you buying the 5LP vinyl edition? Okay, there you go. There's another little poll to have a look. Yeah, the final results of that poll. Are you buying the 5 CD Blu-ray deluxe set? Yes, 61%, no 38%. It was interesting, the early comers, the people who were here before the live stream started, we were on about 86%. So they must have been the hardcore. They're here early for the chat and they're buying everything. And the percentages came down as we went through. So let's see how that's going. Who's buying the 5LP box? Open the vault, says Sheffield and Beyond. I think that'll happen one day, definitely. I wish you had an option for not decided. Yeah, okay. Well, if I do another poll later on in this chat, I'll try and remember to put not decided in there. Good thoughts. This is also me doing a sneaky little test of how this technology works for when I do another World Cup, because I think I can use these polls for the World Cup. And that would be logistically make it a lot easier. Wow, there is a delay in the live feed, says Paula. I don't know, is there? I'm not sure. I'm just sat here talking. I don't know at what point you get to hear each word as I say it. Anyway, right, so let's get back to, we've had a look at this track listing here for the Glyn Johns. We then come to, and here's where the conversation might get a little fruity. CD 5 or vinyl disc 5. It contains 4 tracks. It runs for, I believe, less than 10 minutes. What are our thoughts on this? It's interesting. They've cunningly come up with the notion of a Let It Be EP, which to my knowledge is not a thing that's ever existed before. But let's first of all think about what's actually on this EP. So it is Across the Universe, unreleased Glyn Johns 1970 mix. Now, some of you will have heard this today. It's one of the track. No, it's not one of the tracks. there was a snippet of it, a few seconds snippet of it on the video that the Beatles released onto YouTube to advertise this set, and it sounds amazing. It sounds fantastic. I can very, very easily see this becoming my favourite version of Across the Universe. But that's just based on like a 10-second snippet that I've heard. It sounds great. Beatle Boy, you should have been in Liverpool today for Beatles Week, and you're buying the CD box set. You should have been. Does that mean you weren't? I've got family who are going there this weekend. I'm hoping to go there in a few weeks, subject to things that might get in the way, but I hope not. So anyway, yes, Across the Universe, unreleased Glyn Johns 1970 mix. That sounds amazing. I'm really looking forward to that. Oh, hi P, how are you doing? Good to see you here. We've then got I Me Mine, unreleased Glyn Johns 1970 mix. So that'll be interesting to hear. So that's clearly not on the 1969 Glyn Johns mix, because I Me Mine as a song didn't exist then, not as a full recording anyway. So yeah, the Paul George and Ringo's have said, we know that they went into the studio at the beginning of January 1970. John had gone. He was no longer a Beatle as far as he was concerned. But the other three, they went in and they made a recording of I Me Mine. It was only just over a minute long, but then Phil Spector kind of looped it to make it about twice the length. So it'd be really interesting to hear that, because at that point Glyn Johns was still clinging on to his job on this before they eventually brought Phil Spector in. And then we've got tracks 3 and 4 on the other side of the vinyl. Anyway, this is a 45 RPM vinyl. Don't Let Me Down. This is a new 2021 mix of the single version and a new mix of the single version of Let It Be. That new Let It Be mix... that new Let It Be mix hasn't been on streaming today. It's the album version, I think, that's been on streaming. So I know a lot of people are disappointed in a 4-track sub 10-minute disc. I'm not quite sure what to say about that, to be honest. The optimist in me thinks that maybe it was going to be a 4-disc package and they decided, can't do that, let's add something else. I hope it was that, rather than actually reducing a 5th disc from being packed to that. But still, it's, you know, they've put 4 good things on there anyway, so... wasn't John bashed up in early 1970? That's when he and Yoko got run off the road and ended up in hospital. I think that was more summer of '69. I think it was kind of during the Abbey Road sessions, I believe, because they did miss some of the Abbey Road sessions while Yoko was in hospital. I think, if I've got that wrong, tell me. I think that's the case. Amazon has got dimensions for the CD box at 4.93 by 5.6. Surely that's just for the single disc edition. That's not the deluxe box. Looks as though it's more akin to the White Album one that we got in 2018. But that sounds to me like just single CD dimensions, or maybe a double CD package, I think. Thomas LeBouf is wildly off topic here, but you're just here to say repress the mono box. Good luck with that. I think you'll have a very long wait. A lot of people would love it. You might get lucky one day. Important question, because it's in capitals. The LPs line up with the CDs. That means the CDs are only about 40 minutes each. Yeah. I think I did hear somebody made a comment the other day that I thought was a good comment here. And sometimes nowadays it's probably better to look at what is the total running time of the music, and or maybe the number of tracks. Base your decision on that, rather than basing it on how much space is left on a CD. Because, you know, I could fit sort of 10 wardrobes and 3 small sofas in this room. Doesn't mean it'd be a good idea to do it. That was a terrible analogy. Forget I ever said that. That was awful. But I think it's probably best to look at the list of songs that we're getting. Base your decision on that. For those songs, is it worth you paying that money for that set? If it is, brilliant. If it isn't, don't do it. And I'm trying to think in those terms rather than getting too hung up on how much of each disc is actually filled. And when I look at the list here, if I just let's go back up to the top here. We've got, you've got the new Giles Martin mix. You've got a disc of Apple Sessions. You've got a disc of Rehearsals and Apple Jams. I've got a disc of the Glyn Johns mix. I've got these other 4 songs here. We've got the Blu-ray high-res mixes. However many discs it's spread over, I'm trying not to think too much about. I'm looking at that content, and I like the look of that content. So that's how I'm kind of viewing it. You may wish to view it differently. That's entirely up to yourself. Andrew Galvin. I think it's funny that the Glyn Johns mix means we will now have 4 officially released versions of Let It Be with different solos. Is that Let It Be the song, presumably, or Let It Be the album you're talking about? I presume you mean the song, because we'd have had the original single mix and album mix. Now we've got the new remix, the Glyn Johns mix. So yeah, we've got a few. What else have we got in this chat? RJ, you would have loved it if Susie Parker and Get Back 45 single were included. Yeah. Again, we can't have everything, can we? So there's always in these releases going to be things that I wish that was there. For me, the one thing that I really, really wish was on this and isn't is the fast, rocky version of Two of Us. Would have loved that. So I really hope it's featured prominently in the Get Back movie, and then I'll kind of deal with it. Be okay then. But at the moment, I'm quite upset. This is going to sound strange, says Good Songs, but I'm most excited for that 5th disc. Fine. Okay, well, I think, that Across the Universe I thought sounded absolutely superb. So I'm very interested to hear that, and it'll be a nice. Don't forget to drink. You're right, my throat is getting a little bit dry again now, John. Hi, Gabriel. Please talk about the books. Are they the same for CD and vinyl? I think I'm going to tell you what I think. Everybody else, please chip in with your thoughts on this. I think I saw that the number of pages is slightly different between the two. Now, whether that just means that they're sort of scanned, whether it's the same content over a different number of pages, or there is things not in one that's in the other, I'm not quite sure. I don't have a definitive answer for that yet, unfortunately. So I can't answer that one. And another similar question is how much crossover will there be between these books and the official Get Back book that's also coming on the same day, which I noticed again the Beatles were promoting that. It's very much an official book, is that? And that looks like that's going to be really good. I think it's something like 240 pages. And I just wonder, again, this is my speculation here, I wonder whether it will be similar to the route that the John Lennon books have gone down recently. Because we've had the John Lennon box sets, and they've also done a standalone book with Imagine and then Plastic Ono Band. And while there is some crossover, you can't avoid crossover, tended to find that the books that are in with the album sets probably focus a little bit more on the recording session, which take it is, which mix it is, and how many takes they did and what was going on in the studio at the time. Whereas the standalone books are often more the story of, where these people were at in their lives when they recorded it, and the stories of what they were doing at the time. So I wonder whether it'll be a similar kind of distinction. I don't know, but the Get Back official book that comes out the same day, A lot of people have ordered that already, and I know if you haven't ordered that, then I would recommend going and having a look for that and finding that, because that looks like that would be really good as well. And it's not massively expensive. It's come down in price quite a bit, actually. It's about £26 in the UK at the moment, so that should be really good. Mike Knowles, there will actually be 7 versions of Let It Be the song. Okay, let's have a look at this. Original album, yeah. Original single. Anthology 3, yeah. Let It Be Naked, new 2021 album, new 2021 single, and Glyn Johns mix. He's right, you know. Any others? There's 8. There's 8. It's on the White Album set as well. Yeah, it's on the White Album set as well. Only a little snippet of it. So, how's this poll going anyway? I'm going to have a look at this poll. Let's end the poll. And let's get some results through for it. And then I can kick you off with a new poll. And I will put not decided as an option. I don't know what it's going to be yet. If anybody's got a good idea for the next poll, then let us know. We'll see what that is. So the final results were, are you buying the 5LP vinyl edition? No, 51%. Yes, 48%. Somewhere floating in the internet is 1%. So near enough it's a 50-50 split. But for an expensive box set, that's 50% of you saying yes. That's pretty good. Paula, if you bought this, you think you'd still play Let It Be Naked more? You'll love those versions. I think it's a great listen, is Let It Be Naked. Absolutely. One question isn't answered, says P. Do we get the original movie Let It Be with Peter Jackson's Get Back movie on Blu-ray? We don't know, do we, P? I really hope so. I will be very, very disappointed again if they backtrack on their promise. And it was a promise in their original statement to make the original Let It Be film available for us. So I really... He's right, jail trim. I really hope that they don't backtrack on that. And I know that a lot of things have changed. As we said right at the start of this, so much has changed since they announced this project that we're in a very different place now to where we would have been had it all gone ahead as planned a year ago. But please don't backtrack on that. If in the unlikely event that anybody involved in this is listening and gives a toss, please don't backtrack on that. Really disappointing. Paula says, Paul, do you think they will ever stop finding different mixes and versions to release? No, until they open those vaults fully, there's plenty still to come, I think. But it is interesting, I think, the fact that, as I said earlier, we are now at a point where, well, we will, but once this is released, we will be at a point where the Beatles' career from the very end of 1966, when they started doing the Sgt. Pepper sessions, right through to the end of their career, will be fully documented in expanded deluxe editions. And we've kind of known that that's the path that they're going down. What we have no idea is, where does that path go next? Because they'll want to do something next year. What's going to be the big thing next year? Well, hopefully early next year. If not, hopefully early next year it will be the Peter Jackson film physical release and the other things that we've said we would love to have along with it. Maybe a rooftop concert, original Let It Be film. But what else? What's going to come later on in the year? Because are we going to go back to Revolver? Are we going to go back? Will there be something for Magical Mystery Tour? Help, Rubber Soul. What is the plan going to be? And that's a great unknown, I think. And another thing I was thinking, actually, on that point about the Beatles' career being documented in expanded editions, for those of us who are big McCartney fanboys, we'll be in a position now where, from the start of Sgt. Pepper right through to Wings Over America, Paul McCartney's career is documented in expanded deluxe editions right through that kind of 10-year period. If you can fill in those 2 gaps of London Town and Back to the Egg, it would then be documented from Sgt. Pepper right through to Pipes of Peace. That would be great. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things about what on earth is going to happen after this is out. Well, I'm being called a very sincere kind of dude. I don't know why. I don't know whether that's in a positive way or not. But I see above it that was a very sincere plea. Was that my "Don't you dare backtrack"? Beatles. Revolver next, says Great Chef. Maybe because we've missed out on a potential 55th anniversary, haven't we? Because that will be this year. If 55th anniversaries are a thing. Your shelf colour, great choice, and the fab's looking cool. Thank you, Tyrone. It's a telephone box. Let me just up there. There you go. It's a telephone box. I probably can't get my camera back to where I had it before now. I've probably just completely messed that up. But yeah, I am in a different room to normal, and it seems to be, touch wood, I maybe shouldn't say this, it seems to be working better in here. So anyway, let's get the next poll up. Apologies if you did a really good poll idea that I didn't see because I was talking too much. But okay, I've got an idea. I've got an idea for a poll. Okay. Bear with me here because I am just giving you some options here. I wish you could create these polls in advance. Okay, it only lets you add 5 options. Okay, here we go. Here's your next poll. Hopefully that comes through. A few of you seem to like my telephone box shelf. Can I tell you something? My daughter absolutely detests it. She hates it with a passion. This is what would you like to see next? Is this poll? What direction? And I think Revolver seems to be doing well. So if it is Revolver next, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to go backwards? Because obviously Revolver is... Well, no, Revolver isn't the latest one. I still say there is great potential for a Magical Mystery Tour box. But what do we do? Do we go backwards from that point and finish with Please Please Me? Maybe even something from before that? I don't know. But I don't... Can you all see the poll results at the moment? Because I can see... I can see how the poll's going. But I don't know whether you can. I couldn't put not sure, Chris, because I typed out 4 different options and then I found out that it only allows you to add 4. So I'll try and get a not sure or whatever option in the next one. Late 22, I hope not 22p, I hope 2022. A combination of Please Please Me and With the Beatles box set. Early 2024. Yeah, you could do like a 1963 box set, couldn't you? That would be good. Early 2024, we could have a Beatlemania box with A Hard Day's Night, Beatles for Sale and Help. Hey, get yourself a job at Apple here. I'm liking these ideas. Late 2025, early 2026, Rubber Soul Revolver. I think that's perfectly sound ideas from P there. Paula says, didn't we have a Magical Mystery Tour box already? We did, but it wasn't like the boxes like the Let It Be that we've got, or the ones that we've had already. It didn't contain any rarities or any extra sessions. It was nice. It's got a nice book in it. It's got the Blu-ray of the film. It's got a copy of the British Magical Mystery Tour EP on 7-inch vinyls. I just said the word vinyls. I apologise. 2 vinyl discs, and but there's so much that we could get. The actual incidental music from the film, things like Shirley's Wild Accordion would be great, and lots of other things that were going on around at the time. in that. So I think there's a lot of value in a Magical Mystery Tour box. So did anybody say, can you see the poll results so far? Because I can, and I don't know whether you can. Oh, John, yes, you can. I can see you said you can. What about the Twickenham stuff, says JLT Base. Well, I think as we were looking at the track listing earlier, which I'll just pull back up, for your delectation, I think we kind of said that disc 3, and that's the same whether you vinyl or CD, that looks to contain some Twickenham stuff in there, but I don't think we're ever going to... I think if you want a lot of Twickenham stuff, you're going to have to go down the bootleg route. But we've certainly got some there, so that's good to see. So I'm going to end this poll shortly. It's fair to say you don't want to see Help next. And why? And yeah, why would Help be next? I probably should have put Please Please Me there as an option to see whether you wanted to go back to the beginning. That again, but let's end this poll and see what it looks like. How long does it take for these poll results? Come on. Well, here we go. What next? So you've overwhelmingly said you would like to see Revolver next. 58% of you. Which is interesting. I know Giles Martin said he sees challenges with doing a remix of Revolver. I think we know that Tomorrow Never Knows, you can't fully remix it. You can partially remix it, like they did on the Love album. But I think some of it, the tape loops and whatever, there was some of it was kind of done live, and I get the feeling from things that I've read that, you know, with Sgt. Pepper, for example, where the big thing with the remix was they were able to unbounce tracks. I get the impression that with some of the earlier albums, and maybe even up until Revolver, that certain things are actually locked in on tracks together, and it might not be as easy to separate as we might think that it logically is. So I hope it's there. I hope they can do it. Hey, my Uncle Richard's in. How are you doing? Excellent to see you yesterday. My Uncle Richard got a tour of my new room yesterday. He got to sit in my chair and listen to a bit of All Things Must Pass. 50 years since Star Club recording. Or 60? 60 presumably. But I know, yeah, they were in Hamburg, weren't they, 60 years ago at the moment. So yeah, if that's a big anniversary of that would be good. Imagine with Revolver they'd have to throw in a lot of session chatter and false starts, etc. Yeah, if you think about on Anthology 2, like And Your Bird Can Sing, how much fun was that? That's about as much fun as you can have listening to a song. Absolutely brilliant. So they were clearly high for various reasons, and that there's probably a lot of fun to be had on those tapes because of what they were sneaking off to the toilets to do behind George Martin's back. But a Revolver box set could be fantastic. I'd really love to see that. I am settled in now, thank you, Tyrone. Sheffield and Beyond, off topic, what happened to the missing All Things Must Pass mixers? I don't know, is this didn't Danny say something about that there might still be potential more to come in future because they had another 70 odd that they could do something with? So maybe they'll do something with that in the future, who knows? Tomorrow Never Knows. Tomorrow Never Knows just needs a louder bass, that's it. What would the extras be on the early sets? There wasn't as much recorded for those. Yeah, there wouldn't be. Maybe they would have to throw in some live things as well. I don't know. But yeah, Please Please Me was, you know, it was a day, wasn't it? A day in the studio, and it's all done and wrapped up. So it would be interesting to see what else they would put on there. And I guess I still think that they're leaving the earliest albums as long as possible, so that by the time they get round to doing them, this demixing technology where you can take a 2-track recording and actually sort of pull out Paul's vocal, John's vocal, different drums, bass, guitars. Maybe they're waiting until that technology is as good as possible to do that, because years ago it would have sounded rubbish, and as time goes by it's getting better and better. And maybe they're going to wait for until that's as good as it can be. I'm just going to quickly go back to the end of this track listing, because we didn't quite finish it off. So when you get to the CD and Blu-ray version, you have got, as we always get, Blu-ray. So that Blu-ray hasn't got all the tracks. So if you got the Blu-ray for All Things Must Pass, for example, you didn't get all the tracks in that. I think you did on Plastic Ono Band, but it's just high res of the actual album itself, not all the bonus tracks. But you've got a Dolby Atmos mix there. You've got a 5.1 mix for those of you that like that. We've got a 9624 high res as well, so that'll be really good. And I would imagine that if people want the high res, but you don't want to buy this big box set just to get it, I would imagine that you can probably buy it separately from online high res outlets like Kobo's. What are the other ones? I don't know what the other ones are, but I certainly bought All Things Must Pass high res from there. So I guess you'll probably have the option online to buy the high res as well if you wish to do that. Sheffield Beyond, is Joe live at the same time? Have me and Joe gone live at the same time as each other? I didn't know this. Right, okay. Well, talk about shooting each other in the foot. Oh well, I can only do what I'm doing. And if you've chosen to watch me, thank you very much. And I'm sure that those that are watching Joe are having a good time as well. But I'm not going to promote his live stream anymore. It would be amazing to hear modern sounding early Beatles. Yeah, there has been a remix of She Loves You done with this spectral demixing that it's called. And it does sound really good, but again, that was years ago, and I bet they could do it a lot better now. And I think the other interesting question, that I find interesting as well, is ultimately where will all this lead when it's done? Will we have a need for a replacement for the or an updated version of the past Masters albums? Because with this, for example, they have given us the single mix of Don't Let Me Down and Let It Be, but as people have said, the Get Back single mix isn't on here. We didn't get Hey Jude or Revolution on the White Album one. There's all sorts of single mixes that are missing, so will there be a past Masters to wrap this up at the end? That would be interesting, because then that means that they're gonna have to go back to things like Love Me Do, From Me to You, She Loves You, all those really early 2-track they'd have to do with the albums anyway, and do full remixes of them. So that could be really good. And talking of past Masters, I am going to be, just to let you know, I'm going to be doing a video soon about past Masters. Really something that cropped up. I listened to the Mono Masters album a couple of weeks ago. I had a really good evening listening to that. And it did kind of get me wondering about, has there ever been a perfect version of that past Masters or Mono Masters collection? And I'm not sure there has. I love it. I absolutely adore it. I don't think they've ever got it absolutely right, and I'm going to be doing a video about that soon. But that's for future. I will do that as soon as I can. I'll try and get your name right here. Aranialex Abbott, is that right? Apologies if I've got that wrong. What do you think of the new cover? The font and layout has been changed, and George's teeth are less white. I didn't know about George's teeth, but I did hear that somebody went into some interesting forensic detail on, was it Twitter, about the font. I'm not going to take this album out of here because wedged in there and I won't get it back. The font's a slightly different font. Now, I don't mind. If this was designed as a faithful reproduction of the original album, then that would be annoying. That would mean you've messed up. But when it's a remix, I think it gives them license to do these things. So, for example, with Plastic Ono Band, there was a lot more saturation in the cover. It was a much more colourful cover than we'd had. And it kind of tells you that this isn't quite the album. This is a new version. With All Things Must Pass, the trees in the background were green. Again, it tells you this is something different. Don't expect this to be a faithful reproduction of the original album. So I don't mind at all when they do these little things like this, because I think it just highlights that it's something, it's not trying to be a faithful representation of it. I'll go slightly off topic with the next question that I see. From Neil, have you watched Mccartney 321 yet? You watched the 60 Day in the UK. There was a lot of new nuggets in it, such as why Mccartney is named as it is. So, yeah, for those that don't know, it went live in the UK yesterday on Disney+. So I have seen the first episode, really enjoyed it, but I haven't seen the rest yet. I've been kind of really busy the last couple of days, and I've got another really busy couple of days coming up, so I'm not going to get a chance to watch it until at least Sunday, I don't think. So I will watch it as soon as I possibly can, but I think I'm going to really love it. Shea Stadium release would be great. Yeah, Ruby, it would. I think we thought we were going to get that with the 8 Days a Week film, didn't we? I mean, like a lot of people, I went to the cinema to watch the 8 Days a Week film, and then at the end, they showed the Shea Stadium. They cleaned it up, and it was there, and we thought we were going to get it. I understand that there was some sort of rights issue that then got paid to that. I don't know what the reasons were, but it would be great to get it. Hi Elliot, do you think the Rooftop concert will be a live album? Well, we discussed that a lot earlier on. I think it will come. That's just my own personal speculation. There are very good reasons that we talked about in depth at the beginning of this chat. If anybody missed that and wants to go and watch it later on, please do. But I think there were very good reasons why it wasn't included in this package. Hi Chris, good to see you here. Chris Shaw from I Am the Egg Pod, if anybody isn't familiar with that, and I know a lot of you will be. Fantastic podcast. Google that later on if you've never heard of it, because some excellent guests on there and some great podcasts, all Beatles related. John, I thought you were a professional Beatle watcher, Andrew. Well, if somebody would pay me to be a professional Beatle watcher, let's have discussions about the salary. I'll apply for the job. But no, unfortunately, sometimes I have other things I have to do. And I can't watch Mccartney 321 for another couple of days yet. Mazine, speaking of McCartney, thoughts on the de-age in Find My Way. So we're talking there about the new reimagined video for Find My Way with Beck. It's a bit freaky. I guess most of you have seen it by now. It's very interesting. It's very clever how they've done it. I mean, you've got a 1965 roughly version of Paul singing "Find My Way," a song from 2020. It's a bit of a mind blast, and I must admit I haven't gone back and watched it again since that premiere. But I really enjoyed it. It was very interesting. So what else have we got on here? Do we think there will be a soundtrack to Jackson's film? Says Terry. We don't know. Again, we can only speculate. I hope so. I really hope that there is. Maybe like people were mentioning about things like, oh, why is Susie Parker not on here? Maybe if it's known that something is going to be coming later on, maybe there are reasons why some of this stuff isn't on here now. And while we might get disappointed with it, it might be that actually we're going to get surprised with some of this stuff later on. This might be me completely wishful thinking and being really naive, and I'm going to end up disappointed, but we just don't know at the moment. Andrew Galvin, what's this? Thank you so much. That is really, really kind of you. Thank you. You're off to bed now. Thought I'd send you this for a pint in your next stream to say thank you for all you do. Thank you. I can't do this without the contributions of everybody here. If I was sat here talking and you all weren't contributing, this would be rubbish. I mean, it's probably rubbish anyway. But thank you for tuning in for it. But thank you, Andrew. I just really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Anthony's got one possible negative. I'm going to read this out before I've seen what he's saying, but I trust Anthony. He's not going to be causing trouble here. Is that the volume and speed in which we are getting Beatles releases means that the past release is forgotten about, i.e., all things must pass. You're right, and you've just reminded me of something there, Anthony, that you might have seen earlier on, that I put on Twitter earlier on. I created a little meme early on that I put on Twitter. So I'll just get this up on my screen now. And it is a bit of a worry, but can you see that? It is so fast moving, isn't it? All Things Must Pass has been out a couple of weeks, and we're already on to the next big thing. And that's the joy of being a Beatles fan. I mean, what other band can you do this with? I mean, it's blooming expensive, admittedly, but what other band? If you I mean, let's take some of the Beatles' contemporaries. The Rolling Stones, they've got something out. Charlie Watts. We salute you, Charlie. What a fantastic man and drummer. And what a life he's had. Brilliant. So respect to Charlie. I'll continue talking about what I'm talking about. The Stones have got, is it Tattoo You coming out? Great, but it's not very often that you get a Stones related thing coming out. The Who, they've had something coming out, but again, it's not that often. The Beatles, it is, it's non-stop. If we go back, let's go back a year. Where were we a year ago? Flaming Pie had just come out a year ago. And then after Flaming Pie, what else happened in the back end of the year? I can't remember what happened in the back end of the year. Give Me Some Truth came out. Then we were into Plastic Ono Band. Then we were into All Things Must Pass. Now we're into Let It Be. And then we know that McCartney's got big things coming up at the end of the year with his lyrics book, for example, and he's got this 3-2-1 documentary, and might he still release some archive collections? We've no idea on that one. It's just never ending. It's really expensive. It's... what was your question, Anthony? What were we even talking about? Does it mean that the past release is forgotten about? It's a really interesting question, is that? And it is a shame if and when that happens, because with all those of us that have just bought All Things Must Pass, I've spent a lot of money on that thing, and we spent a lot of money on Plastic Ono Band beforehand. Plastic Ono Band had only been out a very short amount of time before we were talking about All Things Must Pass. And yeah, I do have to sort of kind of remind myself, even now, go and listen to All Things Must Pass. Get that disc 3 on. Get those day one demos on. And as I'm saying that, I'm thinking I really need to go back and spend some more time with Plastic Ono Band, because there's bits of that I only got to hear maybe a couple of times, because there's so much of it. And we're then on to the next thing. It is difficult, and there's part of me thinking I'm collecting all this stuff for when I'm an old man and I can't get out my chair anymore, and I can just listen to all this stuff. But I hope that time comes. Can't all guarantee that it does. So it's never ending. It really is never ending. Sam Foster says, great shirt. Is that this shirt you're talking about? It was actually weird where it was complete coincidence that I'm wearing this today, but it should have been first thing on my mind this morning. I knew that this Let It Be announcement was coming today. I should have been thinking, get the right t-shirt on. Stefan, 50 years later, the Beatles are still on the top. They absolutely are. There was a really interesting thing I heard on a podcast recently. Some of you might have heard it. It was a BBC podcast, and it was all about the Beatles anthology and how that brought a new generation of Beatles fans to come to be in the mid-90s. And they had this guy on who was, I can't remember his name or exactly what his job was, but basically this guy that they were interviewing is the number one worldwide guy where legacy acts, as they call them, go to for advice on how do I get my catalogue out there to new audiences, what do I do, what should my strategy be for new releases and keeping my catalogue out there. This was the number one guy in the world who people go to. And he was saying that the Beatles are they are a law unto themselves. He said he advises a lot of clients, and this is like major rock stars and bands, on how the right and wrong ways to release their catalogue, whether it's a remix or remaster, how often to do it, how much to put in it. He said it's still the case that the Beatles can do what they like. Other people can't, but the Beatles can. They're still so big compared to everybody else. And this wasn't just some guy who doesn't know what he's talking about, like me saying it. This was like the number one guy in the industry saying they're still a law unto themselves. That was quite interesting to listen to. I don't think that's on the BBC iPlayer anymore, but if it is, have a search for sort of Beatles anthology or something on iPlayer. It might still be there. Mocker, yeah, God, in all this, we're kind of forgetting that we've still got a 6-hour documentary coming out in November. Fantastic. And, you know, we've said during this chat, and people have said separately to it, that it's really interesting how, well, it's interesting and in some ways disappointing how the scope of this project has had to change because of the pandemic. And it has, let's make no bones about it, this is a very different project to what it would have been, what it would have looked like 18 months ago when planning it. But one thing that wasn't expected was a 6-hour Peter Jackson documentary. That has come to being as a result of presumably cinemas being closed, probably Peter Jackson having more time to go through all this material. So that to me is a great benefit, if there can be one, of the horribleness of the last month. Hello, New Zealand, Michael. Thank you for joining. All the horribleness of everything that's happened, but sometimes it means that you get things that are great that you wouldn't have otherwise have got. And, you know, might there even be something more than that? Peter Jackson loves an extended edition. You know, is the 6 hours the extended edition, or is there going to be another extended edition on a Blu-ray? Could it be 8 hours? Could it be 10 hours? That would be fantastic. Will we ever actually get to see, presumably Peter Jackson finished or very nearly finished, his original sort of couple of hour version that was going to be coming into cinemas? Will we get to see that? Could a Blu-ray include a theatrical cut? That would be interesting to see. What did they think was like the 2 hours? I mean, how do you cut 56 hours of footage down to 2 hours? But that could be a really sort of interesting shorter film there. So, you know, there's a lot to like about what's happening as a Beatles fan at the moment. Even though it's flipping expensive, it's non-stop. But my God, it keeps us all talking like this, doesn't it? Drip, 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 says Lee. It'll take years, but it will all come out eventually. Yeah, it will. It will, definitely, because whoever owns this stuff in the future, once everything's under the control of a large organisation, faceless organisation, hopefully a long way down the road, but they're not going to have the sentimental attachment that Paul has, that Ringo has, and that Yoko has to, you know, Let It Be is a big thing for Yoko. She was there, obviously. So, yeah, it'll all be out one day. Good songs, you're back. What did I miss? Well, it depends how long you were gone for. I don't know how long you've been gone, so I can't say what you've missed. Not many rooftop performances, says Ben. No, if you get a chance, if you want to go back and watch this from the start at some point, we talked a lot about why there's probably some really valid reasons why it's not here. And I'll just reiterate what I usually say on these chats is that I will have missed a lot of what you're commenting on, and I apologise. Can't keep up with it all, but I do always go back afterwards, and I do always see your comments. I do always read them back because I can see them after the event. So if there's any message you want to send, I don't get to see it, I will read it. It might be tomorrow morning or whatever, but I will see it. Good songs. This has to be a top tier year to be a Beatles fan. Absolutely. And I think it goes back to something I've mentioned before about why I did say right at the start of the year why I thought we might not get archive collections from Paul this year, especially if it was going to be London Town Back to the Egg, a big mammoth box set that we all hope it'll be. Because I wondered whether Paul would just think that, well, actually, with him knowing what's coming this year, Let It Be, Plastic Ono Band, All Things Must Pass, not through the goodness of his heart, wanting to help us out financially, but he might think, well, actually, that's too many things to compete with, and I might not get the sales that I want. Next year looks like it might be a quieter year, potentially. That might be the time for some big McCartney archives. But I certainly hope we get some sort of physical releases from Paul McCartney before the end of this year. And if it's not going to be archive collections, then please, am I going to do my plea to camera again? Please, can we have some vinyl reissues, Paul McCartney? It's been over 2 years now since the last lot. There is so much that still can be done in that series. Can we have things that we're not going to get in an archive collection probably? Can we have Memory Almost Full? Can we have Twin Freaks? Can we have Driving Rain? There's all sorts of things that could happen in that series. So I really hope that there will be something like that coming before the end of the year. Hey, Dom's in. How are you doing, my friend Dom? Sorry for tuning in late. The McCartney lyrics book. You hear an unreleased Lennon and McCartney song, Tell Me Who He Is due to be included. Excellent. I did look through that track listing, as probably a lot of you have, 2 or 3 days ago. And I think I picked out about 3 or 4 things where I'm thinking, I don't know if I want to admit this in public, but I don't recognise that song title. And that must have been one of them. So, yeah, it's great that he's really going into depth. And there could be some really interesting stories in that book. So I'm really looking forward to that. And might there be a second volume? I don't know. If it goes well, then maybe it will be. But it certainly seems to be that with things that Paul is doing, like this McCartney 321, with this lyrics book, I get the impression that, well, I think it's probably fair to say it's not rocket science to suggest that Paul McCartney is never going to write an autobiography, as much as we'd probably love it. But maybe these little projects that he's doing, where, go and spend a few hours in a room with Rick Rubin. Spend some time talking to somebody about the lyrics of your songs. Maybe that's what we're going to get from Paul McCartney, and hopefully more of it over the next few years. Maybe that's what we're going to get instead of an autobiography. Because as Paul has said, his songs are... He's told his life story in his songs to an extent. Even if the song doesn't necessarily say what he's been doing, if he tells us the story behind this, it's going to tell us an awful lot. So I hope there's lots more things like this, lots more documentaries in depth, books where not necessarily him telling his life story, but telling us about the songs. That would be great. Yeah, CJ, the many years from now, the Barry Miles thing. Yeah, I read that back when it first came out, and it's one of the. I must admit, I got rid of a lot of my books when I moved house. I had a real clear out, but that was one that I deliberately kept because I want to go back and reread that. Hi, Graham in York. I am not far from you. Head south from York, and I'm not far away. Something worth mentioning here. Closet Krishna, Darren Mack, didn't realise the vinyl Let It Be box set was a half-speed master. Yes, it is. It is a half-speed master. So that's good to hear. And I think All Things Must Pass was as well. Plastic Ono Band was, and they didn't promote it as such. I don't know why they didn't promote it as such, because I think it's a good selling point, but I know that it was. Yeah, Adam, memory almost full and vinyl would be brilliant. It would, and partially because they wouldn't be able to use the CD mastering, because your needle would just be bouncing up and down on the turntable. They would have to use a proper mastering for it. So I think there'd probably be a few of us, if they did release memory almost full on vinyl, hooking USB up and doing a needle drop of it to replace the CD. Makes your ears bleed. George Irving, hi George. I listened to the 50th All Things Must Pass set and feel it's worthy of the hype. Enhanced versions, ultimate mixes are well worth it. Some don't like change and that's okay, but sales prove it's very popular. Yeah, if you don't like the remix, you don't have to listen to it. Nobody's taking the original away from you. Now, anybody who cares about the original All Things Must Pass has surely bought a copy by now. Nobody's going to come and take that away from you. It's all extra if you want it. Hi David. Andrew, imagine the Pakistani version of Get Back is not on the new issue. Absolutely not. That was never going to be on there. There was certain things, wasn't it? Was it? I know what the lyrics of that was. Was that the same as the Commonwealth song? Or was the Commonwealth song something different? But no, they were never going to put. Yeah, Nikolai, we're getting Green Submarine. I haven't ordered. Is that 2nd of September? That's only a week's time. I haven't ordered it yet. I'm going to have a look at that and get that ordered. That's snuck up on us. So yeah, we've got the Hey Granddude. Well, I've got to now that I'm a granddad, I've got to get that, haven't I? I bought the last one. I bought the book with the CD in it. I'm gonna have to get it. I'll have to get that. Didn't realise it was so soon until that was out. That's crept up on us. Excellent. Get any final questions or comments in about the Let It Be box and releases, so I can cover those before we wrap up this live stream. Hi Gareth. In a week that we lost the last Everly brother, Don, what do you think of On the Wings of a Nightingale? Best song that McCartney gave away. I have got a dodgy copy of that, but it's not one that I've listened to often. So I need to probably go back and re-listen to it before I can sort of say much about it. But I know that I have got a copy of it. It was from the 80s, wasn't it? Wasn't it like one of the Everly's sort of late comebacks that was from? Hi, Michael Kleinpenning. Hello from the Netherlands. Hi Netherlands. It's like Eurovision, this, isn't it? Hello from the Netherlands. Any thoughts on Carnival of Light on a Magical Mystery Tour box set? Great channel, by the way. Thank you very much. If there is a plan, a long-term plan to do a Magical Mystery Tour box, which, as I said a few minutes ago, I really hope there is, then maybe Carnival of Light could fit on there. I'd have loved to have seen it on the Sgt. Pepper box, as a lot of people would, and it wasn't. And it either wasn't there because, again, somebody vetoed it, or they just never considered it as part of Sgt. Pepper, because it was a standalone project. Maybe it might fit on a Magical, and what a selling point it would be for a Magical Mystery Tour box as well. For sort of hardcore Beatles fans, it would be a great selling point. I would love that. It'd be great. Hi Alex, you got into the Beatles age, I presume you mean the Beatles age 10 in 1995. All the other bands you like would release special editions with decent liner notes. It costs lots, but I'm glad we have all these new releases. It certainly does cost a lot. But yeah, it's certainly non-stop, and it's a full-time hobby, isn't it? Being a Beatles fan, they don't make you wait ages for things. Um, yeah. Paul McCartney Archive Collection London. I know you always repeat this comment on all my live streams, and thank you for commenting and whatever. But um, you were saying August a few weeks ago, and we all sort of knocked you down for that. So we'll all knock you down on September as well. I'm glad you put a laughing emoji there because it ain't gonna happen. You're not getting it in September. Um, but I hope we get it soon. I hope one day. I hope you are like a stopped clock, and eventually you keep on saying this, and eventually you're right. I hope that's. Um, George, well balanced. You feel my passion. Thank you very much. Like I said earlier, I try to be. I know sometimes I'm a bit ridiculously optimistic. I know I am, but there are certain other channels out there that are just do nothing but moan, and that ain't fun as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, I try to be a realist. I do. I'm never going to come on here and say that I think we should have. I'd love to have this, and this. If I know that that's completely unrealistic, there's no point saying it. So I do always try and be realistic, even if what I want doesn't actually come to fruition sometimes. Gods, go get the 30 days Get Back Let It Be box set. Is that the sort of 80 odd disc one? I mean, there was a time in the past when I sort of said, yes, one day I will listen to every second of the Let It Be sessions, and I think I've probably got a lot of it on. I think I've got a hard drive somewhere where I used to, in the days of Napster, when you used to be able to download all sorts of nonsense. I think I did download the full damn thing. I've never gone and listened to a minute of it, to be honest. Hi Ben, thoughts on Let It Be Naked? You know, a number of fans don't like aspects of it. Hearing the fly on the wall content was frustrating. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? I like Let It Be Naked. I think as a, if that's the album that had been released in 1970, probably all rave about it. The fact that it's got Don't Let Me Down on there, and the fact that it's got a nice stripped back Long and Winding Road, You've Not Chatter. It's a really nice album. I really enjoy it. Fly on the Wall. I did suddenly have a notion this morning, knowing that the announcement was thinking, I might listen to Fly on the Wall again for the first time in, how long is it since Let It Be Naked came out? About 18 years. And I think I listened to it on the release day, and I don't think I've ever listened to it since. But do you know what? I think by the end of this week, I will have listened to Fly on the Wall again, probably. John, great question. How far in advance do you think Apple plan these releases? Do you think they may have already started the next one for 2020? Yeah, they know exactly what's coming next year. I mean, we knew when, I think it was when Abbey Road, no, when Sergeant Pepper came out, Giles happened to mention that he'd already done the White Album. When the White Album came out, he probably had already done Abbey Road. When Abbey Road came out, he'd probably already done Let It Be. So they know exactly what they're doing next year. I mean, obviously this project, as we've said, has changed a lot because of the pandemic, and it's a very different project now. What you're getting now is very different to what was originally planned. That's kind of fact. We know that for definite. But assuming that things go to plan, they know what the plan is. They've probably got a 5-year plan, I would expect, like most big businesses got. You always plan. You've got to be prepared to change your plans, but you always plan. Paul, did anyone go on the Abbey Road open house event recently? Great experience. I wish I could say yes to that. Kind of found out about it a bit too late. I would love to do that one day. That would be an absolute. That's a bucket list thing, isn't it? To actually go inside Abbey Road. Seal Decker, do I use any record cleaning things? Well, I've got a thing that I put down on it. You know, one of them little velvet things. I've got a spray, and if I think a record needs it, I've got a spray with sort of special nice soft cloths. But other than that, I don't mind a little bit of pop and crackle on vinyl. If you can't handle pop and crackle, don't play vinyl. Yeah. What's your favourite Beatles album? I could be Alan Partridge here and say I have to say the best of the Beatles, but no. Well, let's everybody else tell us what is your favourite Beatles album. Let's see what seems to be the popular choice. I think the greatest achievement on record of all time is Sgt. Pepper. So that's mine. Lucas, you think Let It Be Fly on the Wall was perfect companion? You enjoy it. I am definitely going to play it again in the next. It's now or never, isn't it? I don't use a record weight, Anthony. No, I got when I bought my Riga P3, the hi-fi man he properly set it up and he properly weighted it for me. So there it shouldn't need anything additional than what he set up for me. Stereophidelic. So why didn't they release the non-spectrized Glyn John 69 mix 20 years ago instead of Naked? Good question. I don't think any of us particularly know the answer to that. But my guess would be, certainly taking into account Beatles politics again, the fact that Let It Be Naked allowed for 2 George songs, not the one that you would have had on a Glyn Johns mix. And as well, it was new, so maybe they wanted to create something new. And Paul obviously got the chance to have his Stripped Down Along My Road on there. So, we've got some answers coming through. Favourite Beatles album, we've got Pepper, Abbey Road, Revolver, Abbey Road. There's a real good mix. Nothing's absolutely winning that there, but yeah, there's a real good mix. Excellent. I hope you're all looking forward to this Let It Be package as much as I am. I know I look forward to everything. I always look forward to these things, don't I? But I do. Life has been really boring the last 18 months. I've got to have something to look forward to. So I'm looking forward to doing more videos on this subject over the next couple of months or so as this hit. So we're going to be doing reviews. I'll do listening parties on this like I've done with some other albums, unboxings, all that kind of thing. That's all going to be coming up. So I'm looking forward to doing all that, as well as other things that I've got planned as well. I've had quite a few video ideas lately, so I'm hoping to get those recorded as quickly as I can. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting couple of months again, and I am going to wrap this up now because I've been on for an hour and 40 minutes nearly, and it's been great. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you have too. Hope you'll stick with me. And if you want some more information about Let It Be, if you want a deep dive, I know I do promote these things regularly, but if you do a search on YouTube for my name and Let It Be, I did a series of videos that I put loads of time into about a year ago, and it was I looked in depth at every day of the sessions, what happened on every day in January 1969. And there was a follow-up that I did to it about what happened next. How did we get from the end of January 69 to May 1970? The final album coming out, and it was all about the Glyn Johns mixes, so that's relevant to this. What happened with Phil Spector coming on board. And so if you're interested in those, I'll put links at the end if you are watching on catch-up. I can't do it right now. But if you're interested in those, do a search on my name. You'll find them. But I'm going now. I'm going to say goodbye because I feel like I'm waffling. Thank you very much for joining me. I could not do this without you. I'm going to go now. I'm going to say bye-bye. I'm going to see if Joe Mayo's still doing his live stream, and I'll go and see what he's up to. I'll see you later. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.